You know, the second season of Night Gallery had numerous hits with only few misses, and this final segment of the season, in episode 22 of the great season, is the second half of the what people consider the best episode or segment of Night Gallery, The Caterpillar. The Caterpillar led off this episode, which was number 22 in the list. Now, this is called Little Girl Lost, a very, very deep and tragic tale. Teleplay was by Stanford Whitmore, with a story by E.C. Tubb, directed by Timothy Galfus, with Ed Nelson as Tom Burke as the lead, the great William Wyndham of They're Tearing Down Tom Riley's Bar as Professor Putman, Ivor Francis as Dr. Charles Cottrell, John Lascelles as Colonel Hawes, Sandy Ward as Irate Mann, and Nelson Cuevas as the waiter. We begin this tragic tale with a middle-aged man alone in an observation room, seated on a chair and performing a sort of pantomime on a non-existent girl, brushing her hair and playing patty cake with her. The man is Professor Putman, a brilliant physicist employed by the military, who is now nearly catatonic over the recent death of his young daughter Jenny by a hit-and-run driver. Observing him as our military colonel, a psychologist, Dr. Charles Cottrell, and as their guest, Tom Burke, a military test pilot recently injured in a crash. Burke is unsure why he is there. The colonel and doctor explain that's for a highly sensitive mission, to bond with the professor in such a way that continues at least long enough to complete his top secret work. After which point, they don't care if he goes completely insane. In fact, he wouldn't mind at all. He would pose a security risk. Now, according to David Jules' great blog on the episode, Burke begins to spend time with Putman and Ginny, pretending to go to a carnival and the beach with her, tuck her in bed, where he begins to tear up while telling the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears and remembering the carnival rides, and generally trying to gain the professor's trust. When the three are out at dinner, a man wants to take the empty seat that Ginny is purportedly sitting in, and seems to have an effect on Putman, breaking him out of his reality that she exists. He bitterly tells Burke that the final set of equations would be complete that night, bigger and better bombs at a fraction of the cost. The demented fools. He then storms out without stopping to bring Jenny along. Driving home, Putnam seems to be completely suicidal as he drives recklessly and nearly kills them. Burke exclaims, "You should have killed both of us," and with that statement of exclusion, he signals to Putnam that the bored customer at the restaurant, he doesn't believe in Jenny's existence anymore either. Burke eventually explains to Cottrell what happened the next day, and Cottrell is terrified at the thought that Putnam understands that his daughter is dead. That is the man who worked out the means of great fission with non-radioactive materials. Now Burke realizes what Cottrell is thinking, that Putnam gave the military the wrong formula, a formula for a sort of doomsday device, and perhaps he wishes to use it to punish the military and to be with his daughter with one horrible step. Then a mushroom cloud followed by a blinding white light proves them right. Now, for many, on second or third viewing, it made a lot more sense, but for the first time, according to Jewel, what he says here, it took me a bit of time to work out what was going on here, so it may read better than it actually plays, or at least how it played for me. There's too much time spent with Burke and Putnam pretending Ginny exists, and too little time getting to the military plans, and once we understand what they are, this becomes a heavy-handed exercise indeed. Also, Wyndham, good as he is miscast here, at least for those of us who remember his fantastic performance in the previous seasons tearing down Tim Riley's Bar, and that is because he looks and seems so much the same as that character, so this one seems a pale comparison. Now, I tend to disagree with Jewel. I think it was perfectly cast, because Wyndham could do his style in different formats. Now, I gave it 3 stars out of 4, and this is a very interesting episode of syndication, because one of the followers of the channel had noted there's an extra 7 minutes of film that is shown in the syndicated version, which also shows up in the DVD version. I think initially it was 22 minutes, it ended up being 28 or 29. But on the back-to-back with Caterpillar, it really works, but you have to push the envelope a little bit when the world blows up at the end of the episode. You're seeing a photo of Jenny, so We don't know if that's a pause type aspect, but the special effects at the end are not the greatest, but chilling nonetheless. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest of our Night Gallery podcast. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget, if you're nearing the end of any season, you got to be as strong as Night Gallery's 22nd episode, and it really, really did well with the viewers. I think it was one of the highest rated episodes they had last I checked. Anyway, thanks for listening, and don't forget, requests are always appreciated and always highly considered. Thanks for listening.